Alrighty, what we're going to do now is we're going to multiply two vectors together that are written in trig form. So if I give you two vectors written in the form r cosine theta plus I sine theta, remember those can be rewritten as CIS, r cis. So we're going to multiply, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the two r values together. We're going to add our theta values together, and then we're going to take the cosine and sine of those and distribute the r values in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, depending on how we want it, we may not distribute the r values in. So let's find the product of these two vectors. Alright, so to find the product of these two vectors, we are going to multiply the r values together, and then we're going to take the theta values and we're going to add those together. So when I'm looking at this, I can see that R1, we know R1 equals 3. We got that from right there. There's R1. Here's R2, because that's my second point. R2 is 2. My first theta value is 45. And my second theta value, oh my gosh, I said 45 and I wrote down 42. 45, and the second theta value is 135. So when we do these values, I am going to do 3 times 2 times cis of 45 plus 135. So that's going to be 6 cis of 180 degrees. So if we spread this out, so we write it with this cosine and the sine. So I'm going to have 6 times cosine of 180 plus I sine of 180. And we can put that on our grid. And what we can see is we're talking about this vector right there, because my angle is 180. You can clearly see that the length of this is going to be 6, and there is no y value. But what we need to watch out for is the r value for the cosine of 180. If you do cosine of 180, that's actually -1 plus 0. The sine of 180 is 0i. So my answer for my vector is just going to be -6. There is no imaginary value to this. -6 is the entire answer. Well, what if we're dividing our two vectors? So if I give you in trig form, I'm going to give you a vector and divide it by another vector. What we're going to do is we're going to divide our r values, and we're going to subtract our degrees, our angles. Not our degrees, our angles, because it very well could be in radians. So let's find the quotient. So we need to find, we're going to do R1 over R2 times cis of theta 1 minus theta 2. And where we find all of those values, R1 is right there on top. R2, boom. Theta 1 and theta 2. Boom. Because if you pay attention, 2's are on the bottom, 1's are on the top. Alrighty, so when we plug this in, I know R1 is going to be 10, R2 is 5, theta 1 is -60, and theta 2 is 150. So when we plug this in, we are going to do 10 over 10 divided by 5 says -60 minus 150. So that's going to give us 2 cis negative 210. So 2 times the cosine of negative 210 plus I sine of negative 210. So negative 210 is actually gives when we're going to figure out our values for those. So negative 210 is going to be right here because we're going 180, and that's a reference angle of 30 degrees. So if we're looking at 30 degrees, this is at negative radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. Boom, got that. So the cosine is going to be my x value. So we're going to do 2 times negative radical 3 over 2 plus sine of 210 is going to be 1/2 I. So distribute. So we're left with negative radical 3 plus I. There it is, written as I wanted it in rectangular form. Boom. So that is our product theorem and our quotient theorem. So let's try those with a calculator. And I know I'm going to use a calculator on these because notice neither of these angles are on the unit square or the unit circle. Unit square. Oh my gosh, unit circle. So since we're multiplying and want our answers in rectangular form, we're going to take R1, we're going to multiply that by R2, and then we're going to do cis of theta 1 plus theta 2. So R1 is 9.3 times 2.7 times the cis of 125.2 plus 49.8. So I'll multiply these two together. I'm going to get 25.11, and we're going to go ahead and multiply that by the cosine of 175 plus I sine 175. Notice they're not on that 175 is not on the unit circle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distribute now so I can just put everything into my calculator, make it a little nicer for my calculator work. I'm going to say 25.11 I sine of 175. Then I'm going to put this into my calculator just like it says. 25.11 times the cosine of 175, and that's going to give me negative 25.0144 plus 2.1885 I. Boom, easy peasy. Alright, so actually when we get together in class, let's go ahead and do B in class. So please come in with any questions that you might have, and I'll see you when I see you.